Hello and welcome to the first ever figure review from the Kaiju Cave. I'm an absolute novice at this and this is my first review, so we're just going to wing it. Today we are reviewing the Neca 6-inch Godzilla 2014 from the upcoming Godzilla film. This just came out today. I picked it up at Toys R Us and it is an absolutely beautiful figure. Pan it around right now. Get you a quick 360 view of him, of Godzilla in all his glory. Now, this is an experiment with the light exposure, so hopefully it'll be viewable. This is being recorded on a Windows phone, so we'll see how it looks on a computer screen later on. But we'll take a quick try and zoom up of Godzilla himself. And this has been a controversial design from its original unveiling. A lot of fans love it. Some of them don't like him. Some of them don't like certain features. I, on the other hand, though, think it is a very good design. All the features that we're seeing in this new Godzilla have already been displayed in previous incarnations of the Toho series. This figure is about 6 inches tall, about 12 inches long, and it's kind of like a softer plastic. It's not very hard like the Bandai SH Monster Arts, which is very rigid plastic. So it gives it a little bit of flexibility, yet still has the ability to have an awesome sculpt. And we'll start with his face, which I don't know if it's zooming very well or not on this. He has some head articulation. The jaw can open, not too much. It does seem to have the ability to close. However, it doesn't really seem to stay closed. The body can twist. The neck can twist. I have him in a classic Toho Godzilla pose, although many of the photographs that we've seen of him in the movie seems to have his arms just hanging down. Kind of like when a bear stands up, which is what Garth Edwards and his crew was going for, a very naturalistic, realistic Godzilla with movement. So it's kind of straying away from what Hiro Nakajima pioneered with his Godzilla, which all the subsequent suit actors followed. But he can have those pose, or he can go with a more traditional arms folded inwards Godzilla pose. And this hand articulation. It's interesting that even though Godzilla is by no means to standard science of dinosaurs today, Nakajima nailed it back in the day of having the palms facing in, which we now know carnivorous dinosaurs' palms did face in. Let's go down to the much maligned feet. See there's a toe right here, 3 more toes here. The outside toe is very small. Again, a lot of people are upset about these sauropod feet with their short toes and such. I think it gives a great ability of mass and stability to a monster of this size. Not only that, we don't know Godzilla's exact origin other than he's a extremely prehistoric reptile of some type. He's clearly not a dinosaur. These actually look just like alligator and crocodile feet of today. So I'm actually very okay with this. I think they look good. Like I said, the toes aren't very long, but they weren't very long in the late 70s and 60s suits. Godzilla 65 and Godzilla 74 had absolutely tiny, pitiful short toes. So again, it's within the Godzilla mythos. Go to the body. Again, hopefully you guys can see. Scalation is very well done. It still looks like Godzilla. It's not the trademark wrinkles that the suits had. It has a very alligator-like skin texture, but it still looks like Godzilla. He has waist movement to some degree. Although with NECA figures, I don't try not to tease the joints too much, especially in the beginning. They seem to need to be worked in. Let's go to the spines. Very interesting dorsal spines. They're actually spines or plates. They're not flippy and floppy like many of the Toho suits. These seem to be inspired by the Millennium Godzillas. Although the silhouette reminds me a lot of the Godzilla 54. They're not overly big. They're very jagged and irregular, but seem to form somewhat of a pattern. And I like them. This is not too showy of a Godzilla. It's a very believable Godzilla. It seems to be a Godzilla that can rough and tumble. He can roll around and his spines won't crack or flop or get in his way. Like the Millennium Godzilla spines, if he fell on a side, he couldn't roll or anything like that. He'd just get pinned and stuck. Now, the tail is interesting. The SH Monster Arts tails are ball-jointed their entire length. He's got about 1, 2, 3, 4 joints right here. And then this tail is a soft plastic, vinyl, rubber, whatever, that has a metal wire in it. You see the little holes right there. And it allows it to flex and move. So that's pretty different from a lot of the other figures that we've seen. And this is an absolutely gorgeously long whiplash tail. The base, again, reminds me very much of an alligator or a crocodile. Very wide, very muscular. The scutes on either side are very much like a crocodile or alligator's pattern, but the tail tapers to a whiplash that is very reminiscent of an iguana. Now, I know, ooh, iguana and Godzilla and the same thing. Ooh, Geno 1998. No. Iguanas, if you've ever seen iguanas, if you have a pet iguana, I have 3, and I've had many iguanas over the years. This tail means business. This tail, just by looking at it, just like an iguana, it's very jagged. It tapers to a whiplash, and being hit by a big iguana, as I have many times, it will break the skin and cut into your muscle. By the looks of this Godzilla, if he whips this tail, it's going to cut right through skyscrapers, right through buildings, and most likely right through Muto's legs. This is a very lethal looking tail, and this is the type of tail you couldn't get with the Toho suits, because it would probably be too frail in battle, and to manipulate it would be difficult, but through CGI, I'm sure we're going to get amazing action with this tail like we've never had before. So there's a quick review of him. Try and get some facial details. He looks pretty much like Hesse Godzilla, 90s Godzilla. The head's flatter than it's been in a while. Again, it's probably hard to see the details, but very nice scales going down the flanks. These little gill-like scales, they're probably just long skewed scales. I don't think he's going to have gills in the film. I know it's another thing that's been debated. Can't see it well in this figure, but he has something of a loose dewlap throat like an iguana, which again I like. And it's not overly detailed on the face, but the stills that I have seen, he seems to have very iguana-like scales around his face. Not the green iguana, but more like rock iguanas. Google those Caribbean rock iguanas like the Cuban or the Cayman blue or the rhinoceros rock iguana. Absolutely beautiful animals, and I like to see these features in Godzilla. Let's see how he stacks up. Let's take the Quintessential Monster Arts 94, and they go pretty nicely next to each other. They're about the same height. He's very hard plastic with a ton of ball joints. He's a little more softer and pliable, a little more friendlier. And then just more for more comparison, we're going to take the Bandai Creation 54 and stand them next to each other. And he's kind of right in the middle. I mean, this Bandai 54 has the best detail I've ever seen of any Bandai vinyl figure. Absolutely amazing sculpt. This will get a future review of its own. And this guy's just nicely in the middle and wonderfully priced at only $18.99 I paid, as opposed to this figure, which is going anywhere from between $50 and $70. And these guys are still rip-off being sold for about $12 to $15, maybe more. So this is an amazing deal. So I definitely recommend you pick up this figure. I can't wait for more to come. I know there's going to be a 12-inch tall. And there's several other figures out there. This one has the nice proportions that we have been waiting for. This is the collector's item right here. I have the 4-foot tall, huge behemoth Godzilla, which is pretty accurate in proportion. The dorsal spines are very small. And then there's the Atomic Roar ones and the Rumble Roar and the Tail Slashes. Their proportions are a little off. Those are kids' toys. They don't have the detail. But this is an absolutely wonderful, serious collector's item. It looks great on your shelf, and he stacks up really well next to the other Godzillas. So I wanted to get this up before the movie premiered. I'm going to go see it on Thursday. And this was my first figure review from the Kaiju Cave. And we'll get more into what the name of the Kaiju Cave means. Basically, everyone's heard of the Man Cave. Well, my Man Cave is a Kaiju Cave. And I'll have hopefully a future upload of what the Kaiju Cave looks like. So this is me signing off. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe below. Take care.